Howdy, hooly, hally, hello, 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 guten tag, whatever I want to say. So, welcome to the live stream. We're going to be talking about why certain things are very, very bullish or bullish. I don't know, either or. Um, we'll see how things go here regarding the bullishness. But other than that, there's some interesting developments that have happened. So we will talk about it. Also, I'm going to be changing things a little bit in terms of obviously going to continue with the content, obviously. But if people are interested in a bit of a highlight reel, I will make the video into a small, digestible kind of thing, and then I'll post it on the evening so people can watch it as well. Because I think a lot of people like that. And I want to make the stream better as well. I'm going to make it nicer, if that makes sense, weirdly and wonderful, in terms of alerts and stuff. So if you're new and all that kind of good stuff, leave a like. It's good to see you. But also let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're viewing from. I want to see where people are from, what you're doing, all that kind of good stuff. If you're at work, let me know. And I'm going to get into it and I'm going to talk about some randomness because I think it's going to be very, very interesting. On the screen, Blowfin, if you are a UK person or if you're in Europe, you're probably struggling getting on exchanges. This is one that's open. It might not be open forever. So be mindful of that link is below. Anyways, let's talk about the obvious in the room. FOMC. So we have a first meeting on the 28th. That might be the reason why the market's a little bit iffy now, even though we've had a lot of good information come out. We've obviously had Donald Trump's inauguration. We've had certain things, but there are some bullish elements to this as well. Now, interest rate cuts and all that kind of stuff, and the dollar potentially falling, it could be very bullish. But there's other things happening in crypto, which is very, very interesting. So keep an eye on that date for obvious reasons. The ETF still chugging away quite nicely. It's been pretty good volume going through over the last couple of, certainly over the last 5 or 6 open trading days. However, still January, still a bit iffy, still people not fully on their feet yet. However, let's talk about the bullishness. Now, obviously with the SEC, now this is where we're going to get bullish, and let me know in the comments below if you're bullish or bearish overall on the entire industry, more to the point of select altcoins or meme coins. Now, yes, it's mad. Meme coin based ETFs, which sounds mental. I know. But we've got to remember here, my opinion, of course, the Bitcoin ETF has opened up the gateway. This doesn't mean it has to be selective things. Now, this could mean certain baskets of things. So, obviously, if you look at the index market now with certain stocks, you've got certain technology stocks, you've got certain types of miniature kind of niches, or so, like green energy, you've got whatever. You get the idea, right? Cryptocurrency could have a similar sort of ilk of that in terms of like Coin 50, the 50 top coins, for example, whatever they are distributed as. Obviously, meme coins as well, obviously. But with Gary Gensler leaving, and he's been replaced, it's not been fully confirmed yet. More than likely under the new acting chair, Mark Ueda, is that how you say it? Who's going to replace him? Now, that's not set in stone yet, but he is very, very pro crypto, which is very, very interesting. So we might well find that maybe the SEC does its job, as in like protects investors in terms of like any scams, get them in the bin. I'm all for that, but not to harm the industry by just not doing it and going flat out no on certain obvious things. Now, ETFs are going to be very, very interesting to see where they go in terms of the long term. It might not take off as well because of obviously the Bitcoin one versus the Ethereum one did very, very differently. But we've got to talk about stuff like this. The mania, the phrase, the record surge in Solana addresses as users flock to use a meme-friendly blockchain, right? Now, obviously you can see that. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to note how crazy things have somewhat gone. But that's the thing. Weirdly, it's just gambling. It is, isn't it? Let's be honest. If you're a meme coin investor, you are waiting for certain things to happen. You are trying to jump on at certain points, and you are more than likely going to get yourself blown up. But we all know human emotion and greed, people like that. So that's why things are pretty interesting, certainly with meme coins. And this is why Solana's done very well versus Ethereum. It's kind of obvious, really. So stuff like that is absolutely bonkers when you think about it, right? Furthermore, The cryptocurrency apps that dominate the financial category on the US App Store in America was Crypto.com. I wonder why they put a certain thing in their name. Moonshot, Coinbase, oh, your tax return, funny enough. I wonder what season we're in. But you get the idea. It brings people in. And when we talk about meme coins and ETFs, and we talk about ease of access, and we've got to remember, like, some of the, like, when we go back, and I know I'm going, oh, back in the olden days, crypto was very, very hard to navigate, and now it's a lot easier. Like Phantom Wallet's amazing, even Magic Eden Wallet's amazingly easy to use. You know, if you're using that, you know, for like swapping and stuff like that, it's super simple. Obviously, you got Radium as well. You know, there's so many out there, and it's like, oh god, wow, that's crazy. Anyways, other news to talk about. Obviously, I mentioned it yesterday, Ross is free, but one of the main things as well, we've got again talk about Solana, Jupiter distributed 700 million Jupe tokens, around $616 million. Madness. And also this, which I'm going to cover in a second because that's pretty crazy. Actually, yeah. Now we're talking about bullish news because everyone is talking about predictions of multi-millions in the price range in future cycles or whatever. Now, I've said this before. I still cannot compute $1 million Bitcoin. I just can't because when I first invested, it was below $1,000. It's like, what? Okay, that's mad. Again, we talk about Larry. Larry Thing is a big believer in Bitcoin. If you listen to what he says at the Davos conference and stuff like that, and wow, it's like mental. He is like working for his bags right now. He really is. And we got to look at the fact of why it's different. And what if this cycle, and I know I'm going to say it, as crazy as it can be with everything, the big problem we have is the prior cycle. It wasn't so much institutional led, was it? When you think about it in that sense, it wasn't. And that's where it gets very interesting. You know, when we talk about institutional led, which is crazy, I know, it's very different to the prior cycles. It really is. And when we look at that point of view, it is different. Bear with me, I'm just pressing a button. There we go. Cool. When we think about the fact that what if institutions, as daft as it sounds, are buying into all of these coins and the meme coins, and customers want it. That's where we're going. Customers are trying to get it. It's gone to a certain point where they're asking questions and they're going to facilitate it. It feels like with the pressure of the Bitcoin ETF, that's all been done now. The Ethereum ETF, not as interested, but are people interested in the Solana one? Are they interested in an XRP one? Are they interested in meme coins, Dogecoin? Which again brings me on to like news I just mentioned before. Dogecoin has literally been like put onto a, was it Bitwise? Bitwise just done an ETF application for Dogecoin. It's like what? And then we've got rumors of X payments on X. So there's so many things here, and it's like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna be very, 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 very. I wouldn't say careful with what we do with our money, but it feels like a lot of things are changing. And I know people are probably bearish on altcoins, and I have been. But realistically, people are not looking at, you know, altcoins at the minute. They're looking at meme coins. They're looking at what's going to make them money quick. If the elephant in the room, which is, let's be honest here, I'll go to it, meme coins and also altcoins are starting to really fly, it's going to change everything because people are going to ape into them. People are going to be very, very excited. You're going to probably see more and more hype and news around them. It's just that snowball effect. Just right now, it hasn't happened. And I know people are like, oh, but I'm unsubscribing from you because you're so bearish on altcoins. But realistically, I'd rather not get you wrecked. When we look on YouTube, everyone's getting people destroyed. I mean, people have been building positions in altcoins for months and months and months and months. And it's like, all they've done is lost money. Like, you just got to wait and just wait for the hype to come. We're starting to see now, I think, anyways, the hype return to meme coins on Solana. We're seeing some, like on my Discord, for example, a one ran and Elite, if you're watching, fumbled his bags massively. The reality is here, we're starting to see every single couple of days a runner, a proper runner. And normally you didn't see that for a while, and now it's starting to slowly ramp up. It will go from every couple of days, every day to every hour, and it'll just be like, oh god, everything you put in Solana will go up because people are wanting it. The market makers know it's there, and that's how they make money. That's how people make money, and it's also how people get wrecked because people are too late and they buy the said tops. But right now, certain altcoins, certain things, you've not missed the boat. And I know people are like, oh, but I feel like I missed out. You might have missed out on some things. You might have missed out on the absolute bottoms, but realistically, it's crazy. It's absolutely madness to think where we could be going in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think people need to remember the time element. We last year didn't have an ETF. Well, we just about got one. Took its time. The innovation of technology in terms of how wallets work, how people want things, it's very, very different. So yeah, we might well be looking at meme coins as the penny stocks of crypto, essentially, versus say the stock market. It could be mental. So we're going to be very, very mindful of that. In terms of like obviously price action, Bitcoin's here. I mentioned at the start of this live stream, unless you've missed it, FOMC is happening next week. That could be very, very interesting to see where we go. And then the next meeting's going to be in March. So it's going to be a bit of a, cool down, so to speak. And then that will lead us into the 1 year from halving anniversary. Normally we're much higher. We currently are. So there's a lot of bullish news out there. There's a lot of things happening. But ultimately, the development of like how easy it is for people to just jump on Phantom or Radium, whatever, using certain wallets or even Moonshot now. It's crazy. And every single exchange is also listing, meme coins. If you're buying them on exchanges though, I think you're late. Let's be honest. If you were jumping in on Coinbase thinking, oh, I've made it, you're probably not gonna make it. So be mindful of that. So as a top tip, try and get it on chain versus on an exchange. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Again, as I say, like the live stream and all that kind of good stuff. Things are going to get very, very interesting, I think, over the next couple of weeks, certainly in the market with FOMC. It might be volatile. It might well be volatile. And going back in time, as I mentioned before, we've got stuff like this news coming out. Stuff like this is bang, mental, isn't it? Let's be honest. But again, the reality is here, and where I've lost my thing, there it is. Often you find Q1 can be very, very bullish for the market, very, very bullish. And that could lead into February and March going bananas because we may not have an FOMC, which we don't, obviously. And we may well get clarity on who is going to be in Donald Trump's administration for the SEC. We could be seeing certain things happen, certain developments coming out. There might be announcements around the strategic reserve. There's all kinds of stuff here that could really just send us. But as I've alluded to before in previous videos, we're at that mania stage of Bitcoin. It's all kind of coming into line, but there's different facets now. I know altcoin's not doing as great, but meme coins are, weirdly. That might well generate liquidity then going into altcoins. So it might be a different kind of variable now. It might not be as much as Bitcoin into altcoins like it was. So stuff like that could be absolutely massive. Dear me. Why have we got... I'm so confused with the chat. Anyways, let's have a little look. Hello, everyone. It's good to see people again. I do apologise if you're from the worst country currently in European areas, which is the lovely the UK. Sorry, it's crap, I know. From the Midlands, UK, first full cycle, learnt a lot thanks to yourself and a couple of others, feeling hopeful for the last mad run up. It doesn't take much for this cycle to run. That's the thing. And the one thing I know, like obviously on the screen, I'm showing you like the where we could be going. But I mentioned it before, and I think people like look at me and think, "Oh, fucking, you're so bearish." Like, ugh. Now, I'm not 100% bullish on altcoins, but I'm not an idiot, right? Bitcoin dominance is high, and some of the altcoins have very low volume, like really low liquidity. They're going to be gapping up basically, right? So there'll be gaps in the market where people will be heavy short or there won't be enough liquidity. And then when they catch a bid, they will fly. So a really good live example of this was recently was RSR. The reason why I'm mentioning RSR, because this did something very, very odd recently, right? It was absolutely down here and it was consolidated down here. And obviously what you see with a lot of altcoins, now this is just a random example, not any sort of affiliation to it at all at the moment. But the reason why I mentioned it is because it had like an announcement with the government side of it, which was very, very pro this. And obviously XRP as well, in terms of how it kind of, it's got a little bit of a relationship there. But when I go to the RSR BTC pair, right, it doesn't take much to catch a bid. And this is what I mean. This got like quite a lot of volume. It was like ridiculous volume all of a sudden. Obviously, these are the lows here, a low here, and then obviously a low here. And it did. It shot up, and all it did was just create a lot of FOMO and a lot of hype. Now, if these runs sustain, the big runs, right? And this is where we talk about volume, and I should really actually give you the facts and the figures more to the point of like not telling you, the obvious in the room here. We go to when was it? Over last year, here we go. 1.64 billion was in at that top. Yeah, I'll give a take. So we were running from like 9 million volume up to 28, 17. You get the idea. And then all of a sudden, it catches a bit, and then, oh fuck, price action goes up. The volatility increases. Even now, we're at $77 million. Probably a lot of that is downward because people probably caught the top and all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to see a lot of altcoins that just do mad runs like that. You'll wake up one day and your portfolio has gone up 20, 30% in one day because things have caught bids. Even though it's at the lows, but if you bought the lows and you've been able to profit, sweet. You're going to find that with a lot of assets where they're good, they've not had any sunlight for a while, and then all of a sudden money rotates. It's like, oh, hello, where did you come from? And then it catches the hype, it catches the social media, and the snowball happens. That is just one real live example. Literally is. So it's interesting to note it, and things will just change. Things will literally just change. All of a sudden on a sixpence, it'll just go whoop, bang. Oh God, how did that happen? Well, it just did. What we got? So questions. Leave a like on the video. There's only 23. Come on, let's get over 150 at least. There's over 145 people watching right now. Come on, hit the like button. But then again, another thing, we talk about altcoins hitting and catching bids. So will this channel. This channel will do it. Look at I talk about it before, and obviously, subscribe to the channel. If I go back over the last year, we had a massive growth spurt randomly. Like, look at this, went from 63 up to 70 odd thousand. It just kind of stopped when the market kind of stopped. This market depends on people, obviously. But people tend to come last. The hype will come first, the volume will come. Obviously, we may well get external services in terms of like institutional investment, whatever, and news and pro crypto stuff. And then people will return. I've got 72,900 people. Most of those are inactive because they've been through other cycles. I've been doing this for a while now. Other channels are exactly the same. Ben Cohen, random example, 800,000-ish subscribers. He may get 50 to 60,000 views. That's still quite a low kind of proportion, but for a fact, in a bull market, he's going to get 200, 300,000 views on every single video easily. Myself included, I would be getting a lot more. I used to get like 15,000 views. There's a lot of dead people that are like literally floating around, but all of a sudden, their phones will go, oh, you've invested in crypto once. Do you want to try it again? You remember when you bought Polkadot in 2021? Do you want to buy it again? And then they'll just come back in and just, buy that because I know it. And that's where it'll get crazy, but it will happen. It's not happening yet. And I think that's where people are annoyed and fatigued. And time in the market is the biggest thing. And I can talk about that so many times. If you are in the market properly and you are consuming the content, if you are learning, if you've got a really good portfolio, if you've got your dollar cost average down and you're buying certain things, you will make money. And regardless of what you think about Bitcoin or altcoins, you want certain things to do well. And it'll happen eventually. So in terms of where we are today, in terms of Bitcoin, we're at a really interesting point. Now that's the weekly time frame. This is where we are right now. Are we going to hold this level? This level here, realistically, is critical levels, in my opinion, of support, which we should really hold. Whether we do or not, I don't know. Whether something comes out over the next few days with FOMC and it's good news, it may well get sent to a new all-time high if that news is good, if the base rates are going to be interesting, whether they're going to do a cut, if they're going to do certain things, whatever. Right? It might be bullish, it might not be. We shall see. In terms of other things and other news around analysis, Ethereum is slowly trying to bottom. Whether this is the bottom or not, I've got my doubts. I think we're going to go lower, but I think that's just because of Ethereum itself, nothing to do with the market. They've just not kept above there, let's be honest. What have we got in the chat? What do we have? Why are you bearish on altcoins? I'm not bearish on altcoins. I don't see why people should lose their money by waiting. I'd rather wait for momentum, be honest with you. Once the momentum comes, it'll absolutely fly. And then, I don't think it'll fly in terms of new all-time highs. I just think things will catch bids because they're that low. They're that low. All of a sudden you'll be like, oh, bloody hell, that went up a bit. And then people get interested. Been watching since 2021. The good days. The good old days. To be honest with you, I do miss 2020. 2021 was interesting. It was quite hard work, but it was definitely different versus today, I think, anyways. Personal opinion. Been gone for a while, but thought and Jupiter's decent. I mean, obviously the tokens and airdrop. That's a bit, yeah. You got to be careful with airdrops because obviously people yeet them. But in terms of utility use, in terms of the fact that more and more people will probably use the Jupiter side of it, it's going to be pretty big for the industry because look at what happened. I mentioned it before on this. If I can find the freaking thing. There we go. So in terms of obviously new users on Solana, most people would have used Jupiter probably here, to be honest with you. Jupiter, Radium, whatever, Phantom, all goes through the aggregators, whatever. That's mad to think how many new addresses was created there. Obviously, Phantom, actually, I think it crashed. It got 8 million requests per second. Whoa, what? Obviously, for the little guy, if you're trying to play around with little bits of money, you're probably going to lose out here because of the slippage, but ultimately, crazy. Another thing as well, which is interesting, is the fact that I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's mentioned on here or one of the articles that I read before, Coinbase had to upgrade their entire ecosystem around Solana because they had that many pending transactions. It was absolutely blocked because they were just on the just so slow with it. So yeah, they've upgraded that, which is good to see. Kathy Wood won't invest in Trump coin. Come on now, is that genuine news? She's an absolute donut, anyway. So let's be honest. What else have we got? I wanted to buy the dip so hard, but I have no spare cash at the moment. Yeah, that's kind of a bit of collateral damage from the entire market. And the reality is here, when we look at the total 3/BTC, as I've alluded to it, the big problem we have is it's been going down. There's been no real reason to kind of look at that and think, well, you know what, hold a bit of Bitcoin, go from there. But we'll see how it goes, realistically. Does this guy ever reply to live chat? Yeah, I'm literally replying now, you idiot. Fucking hell, like. Honestly, give us a chance. Christ. What do you think of Jasmine? Not the biggest lover of it, I'll be honest with you. I've openly talked about it, and I just don't really see the hype personally. But it's got legs, but we'll see how it goes. Do you reckon there'll be another scare flush out to the high 80s, low 90s? I don't know. Honestly, this market is weird. So when we talk about like flushes, and I am like, I'm a bear at heart, realistically. I like to have a different view to most people. And I think that's why a lot of people like me, because I'm brutally honest and I say it as it is. I think we've had enough retest of this area to kind of feel like, I wouldn't say it's safe, but I often go with the mantra that levels need to be retested, right? And people take it a bit too far and go, I think we're going to go down to $73,000 or something, or $75,000, just to kind of look like a bit of a lunatic, but ultimately get views. I think it's going to be very, very hard to get down here personally. I think it's going to be hard to get here as well. There's got to be a lot of liquidity here, and I've not even looked. I should really look, to be honest, but I've not looked. We've had a change of character here, pretty much, right? Where we should be looking for levels of support to then send us higher. That's kind of what the probability of this is telling us at the minute. Might change if we lose levels down here and we close and it's looking a bit crap. We will probably reject that. It's invalidated, and we'll probably go and retest 92k. So the 92k is probably going to be on the table until we get over this kind of threshold. But I've said this like a couple of days ago, like we need to hold levels of support. We need to hold this level, and also this needs to be remaining as the new level range low, and this is the range high. It'd be nice if it is. But as I say, clickbait is rampant on YouTube these days, and a lot of people have been putting out content over the last 2 days saying we're going to left translated cycle and this is the top. Okay. But yeah, I mentioned it on my Patreon yesterday, which was quite funny. And someone asked me a question about it, and I was talking like, you know, what if this is like the last, if this is the cycle ends? It would make me genuinely question everything in terms of crypto if this is a cycle ends, and I think it would for a lot of people, not just me, a lot of people. So when we compare ourselves to, like, as I said before, prior cycles, where we at, you know, that's just cycle performance into cycle low. We're at that point of like real interest in, and we are still marrying up with that 4-year cycle. If that is the end and people think that, Ooh, I can't see many more flushes from this point, personally. I think there will always be flushes, but we need to move higher first. Go up, flush, sort of thing. But we've already gone up and flushed. We're going to go flush again. Would be a bit rough, that. But we'll see how it goes. Pull some money out of my pension since last year. In the green, keep buying. Depends what you buy, though. Any love for Glimmer? Not particularly. Not these days. 4-ton Fat Cat. Never even heard of Fat Cat. Would it be wise to short Ray? I don't think it will go higher. Depends. Depends on the hype. The thing with Solana or anything to do with the Solana ecosystem, one meme coin can go berserk. One random person could shill a meme coin. I would say random person, a celebrity, let's be honest. And it might go absolutely berserk, which could be fun. So yeah, I'll be careful or short. I'll be honest, I'll be careful of shorting anything in this market right now. I think it's a bit dicey to short it. Certainly, meme coin ecosystem related Solana plays. I wouldn't short those personally. What if I've just mentioned that one? Fortin XRP and XLM, fine. I have no issues. Oh, one of my lights have just went off. Oops. I have no real issues with. I've always, to be honest with you, I've always used XRP and I've always thought XLM was interesting, but never really kind of like been on my radar for like buying. I bought XRP back in 2017 and made some money, but didn't make loads of money, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it's an interesting point where we're going with regulation and ISO coins essentially, but we'll see where things go. Does was it C S SEI? I've never really looked at SEI, to be honest with you. I've seen it mentioned a few times on my Patreon, but never really been a hold. It's got decent volume. By the way, if anyone is interested in Patreon, there's 50% off for the first month. If anyone is interested in more videos from me, or just Giga fucking Alpha, realistically, because it's mental. And not from me, neither, from some amazing peoples. I mean, the website's nice, but I don't know anything about it. I mean, obviously supported by global institutions. My ultimate question to all of this, and don't take this the wrong way, why do we have so many that look the same? That's all I'm going to say. Because that's the thing with altcoins, they're all the same. And I know that's going to offend everyone and I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers, but there is already a lot of established winners in a lot of the, they've got to really push hard and it might do all right. But, ultimately, I don't know much about it. But if you get my first opinion, there's so many assets like this, and it's like, well, why this one? It's like when you're looking at the stock market, you got to think, right, that you got market leaders and you got the little smaller companies, and you got to think, well, I'd just go for that one. Like you would, wouldn't you? But that's kind of the same with all. It's the same with altcoins. It really is. And it's like this is why I think Solana's doing really well because I think Solana is really winning right now versus Ethereum because people want meme coins. That's it. They want the ability to do it, and that's facilitating that. That's simple as it is. Obviously, you got a lot of layer ones, you got a lot of blockchains that are like, we are the fastest, we are the most secure, we have got this. And then I think to myself, well, there's a lot like that. What's the difference? People like go about me talking about Bitcoin, for example, going, oh, but Bitcoin's just all technology. And then you're like, but Lightning Network's faster than most altcoins. And it stumps people. It's like, yeah, you got a point there. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's like you don't need speed. You don't need to be lightningly fast. You just need to work. You just need to be secure. You need to hold money properly and not blow it up, which is the big problem with it, realistically. But yeah, that's my personal thoughts on a lot of altcoins right now. I think there's too many of them. Far too many of them. There is. There's loads. And then you got to pick the winners. It's like, oh God, how far do we go here? Christ. That's the thing. I'm talking about years ago, like when 2017, 2018, it was kind of a lot more obvious to pick things. But now it's really hard now, I think. Very, very hard. But that's my thoughts on it, personally. Do you think Cardano will hit $5+? Should do. Should do. Only because, right, let's look at the logic here with Cardano. It's a market leader. It's been around for a very long time. It's got a cultish community. What's going on for it is not that. It's a price of this, right? This is a price. Bear with me. Zoom out. Bosh. This is the this is a BTC chart. So currently, this right now is just under 1,000 satoshis. Prior all-time high of the last cycle was 6,251 sats. If you're new to this game, that is the true live price of what Cardano is right now in terms of the BTC pair. So if, say, Bitcoin goes to 200K, it's going to obviously double. But if this goes up, say 3-4 times its value and goes with, say, the 618 levels, it will probably easily hit that lovely $5 mark. Whether it does that on this chart or not, I don't know. Whether it goes up to these levels and go even higher, who knows? But the true value of any asset, you basically put the however much BTC is worth and it will give you and spit out the dollar value. It's got a long way to recover. It won't make a new all-time high on the BTC pair, in my opinion, but it will recover a lot of these gains. So obviously, yes, if Bitcoin does well and this does well, it's going to go way above $5 very, very easily. But ultimately, it depends. That's the maths behind it. But it's one of those, like, talked about before with that altcoin, establishing the leaders. People will go to what they know. If you've had people in 2018 that have came and come back and got destroyed and they get gravitated back into it, they're going to go to what they've already invested in before. The likes of Cardano, the likes of XRP, which we've seen recently, Polkadot as an example. You got Avalanche, obviously. Yeah, you got maybe Litecoin, stuff, random coins like that have been around for a while. They'll go, oh, I know that. Link, another example. So it's crazy when you think about it that way, but that's where I think where the problem lies as well. People will gravitate back to what they know and then not make money because they've either bought it far too late when the hype's already happened. And that's where we get that final push with altcoins, with certainly with the hype of retail. And once the retail come back, it's like that's the last thing. When we're picking like moments to exit, when it's all a bit hyped, when people go a bit bananas for it, and it's crazy. That is the end of it. Like when the retail come back, you've only got weeks and well, weeks is a low point, but ultimately a couple of months before it really starts turning around. And when we look at that in previous cycles, price was crazy, but the banana area of everyone going mental at it, the banana zone, so to speak, was very, very short and sweet, which is where the problem lies for a lot of people, and they just cannot handle the emotions of it, and then they get destroyed, unfortunately. But yeah, it's true though. When you think about it, like your phone will go, remember when you invested in this? And it's like, oh god, here we go. And then you start talking to your friends, and then you start getting back into it. It's like, oh, we're back, but you'll soon vanish again. Crazy. One altcoin to rule them all. One altcoin. Ooh. At the minute, it's got to be Solana, isn't it? It's got to be. It can't not dispute. I'm not even a big holder of Solana, but it's got to be that. Their wallet has Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all the stablecoins, other chains. It works, kind of. And it facilitates absolute degeneracy, which is crazy. Pick a winner for me. Nah. Will there even be a purge on the market to get rid of useless tokens? I mean, there already is. They just vanish. They just get no volume and no one talks about them other than people that are like stuck holding them. Realistically, where will Bitcoin top be? Oof, I've mentioned that a few times. People know where my exits are. If you're in my Patreon, you'll know exactly what my cycle plan is. To be honest with you, and people don't like it. It's like I'm retiring. I'm not really. I might do though. Depends how crazy it goes. If Bitcoin goes to $500,000, I'm not coming back. Oops. But yeah, it is one of those things. Retail is back now though. Majority dumped. Nah, retail are not back yet. Nowhere near back. Nowhere near back. I'll tell you when retail is back, when we're getting 1,000 YouTube viewers on every single live stream and people are gagging for it. And, I could talk about my analytics quite a lot, and I've mentioned it just before. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll know this. Back in the day of like when retail come, it goes mental. Yeah, shall we do it? Shall we have a little look? Lifetime, here we go. So this is literally the mentalness of YouTube. Well, obviously, I was doing videos back, God, a long time ago. Took me a while to get going. Then all of a sudden, 2019, I started getting a little bit of traction, which is fine, which is awesome. And then when you start looking at obviously the COVID side of it, it started to really ramp. And then it went mental. Like, look at that. I mean, that is just bonkers. Went right the way up, right the way up, right the way up. And when the market cooled off a little bit, right? And this was like in the May time. So remember when in May 2021 we had that fucking horrible correction, right? When it went, it literally halved in price. It kind of stopped for a bit. And then again, we ramped up and we got to the final destination point, which was around 60,000 subscribers. I was sat there for a long time. We went into a bear market, right? It's mad. You can literally look at the YouTube analytics and go, is retail here or not? What are the emotions like in Discord? Is it a bit hyped? Ooh, maybe. People gagging for it? Maybe. Ooh, is it a bit deathly in here? And then we struggled for a long time to grow any subscribers for a long time. And I was doing a lot of videos, but I was consistent. I was doing stuff. And then we started to ramp up a bit. Bitcoin started to do its thing and everything got excited. And then we went back into this, the end of 2023 into 2024, and it went fucking mental for a long, like randomly just went. I had like a couple of videos that got 30, 40, 50,000 no, views, sorry, randomly. And Near Protocol was doing well, and Bitcoin was doing really well, and everything went crazy. And then it just died off again. And then this is where we are. We have literally been like nearly a year in and around this same subscriber base, which is mad. I know I've had some changes. I know I've changed my content a little bit. I know I'm doing live streams now, but when you look at the Google Analytics, it's mad. And going back to that, retail is here. They're not 100% not, because when we look at like how things go crazy, it all starts around other social media platforms, and then obviously someone, I just seen that there, just someone to talk about TikTok. People do the TikTok videos are horrendous. They're so bad. But for me, I think the old guys are going to always stick to YouTube because it's better content. It's more digestible, and people do want the quick content. Don't get me wrong, but people who want to learn and want to stay will always remain on YouTube. They want to watch the videos, want to consume the content. They want to be, realistically growing or be a part of the community. Whereas I think with TikTok, it's that kind of retail kind of dopamine of like swipe, swipe, oh, altcoin, swipe, swipe. And I don't think that's going to give us that genuine base of really good subscriber base, or more importantly, good investor. So you could argue, do the opposite to what they're doing and try and like, you know, reverse engineer the hype, so to speak, to make money. But it's quite hard. It really is mental when you think about it. Also, a bunch of retail just watch. Yeah, I've just mentioned the TikTok stuff. Don't expect the same volume of retail views this cycle. Way more crypto channels. Most retail don't trust influence. Agreed, agreed, agreed. I agree. I look at YouTube and it's an absolute fest. It's horrible. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I hate researching any sort of things that I need to do. I don't really watch any YouTubers. There's a couple I do watch, but very, very rare. It's one of those things, but ultimately there's a lot more people now. And I used to laugh when I first started out, and it was crazy when you think about it, like there literally was like, I'm gonna say 20 of us. There was literally 20 of us. Crypto Lark, Box Mining, Superman, you know, Moon Boy, whatever he's called. Ian Bellina back in the day. Crypto Daily was a really good channel back in the day. It's crap. I mean, I never used to watch, I used to dislike Superman quite a lot, to be fair. Still do. I mean, Christ. But that's the thing. The content that some people do generate is literally all about altcoins, 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 altcoins. Like, which is why they get a lot more views versus probably me, because I look at other things. Have you ever met Mike in real life? Nope. I've not met any decent YouTubers in real life. I don't go to events because I just don't like people very often. I just don't like people. Oh, I spend all my life doing like crypto stuff, and then I go out and I've got to go to an event and talk about crypto. I'm like, oh, but yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? But yeah, do you think retail will be back more with TikTok now? Potentially. I need to get on top of my TikTok game, but I need to figure out a way of doing content on it. I'm just not really that interested. I do clips on TikTok, and to be honest with you, they get views. They get like 400, 500 views, and I've only got like 300, 300 subscribers on it or whatever, followers on my TikTok. But it's just clips from these, and I'm probably going to clip this as a full video, to be honest with you, and put like a 5-minute video out as a bit of a highlight reel for a bit of shits and giggles. What's your take on Dog Go to the Moon? Hold it. Hold on to it. Just say, thoughts on base? Do you think they'll release a token? I mean, base is another situation. We talk about base and go, wow, you're fast, you're cheap, and you work like Ethereum. And then you question, you're thinking, is that why Ethereum is doing bad too? There's so many things to it. It's crazy when you think about it. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to release a token. I think I don't think they can they? Because of obviously it's Coinbase and they've already got stock. So can they release a token? What will they achieve from doing that? I don't know. Pepe or Doge? Dogecoin for me, 100%. It's not the sort of investment I'd go for though because of its dilution of, well, I won't say dilution, the emissions of the fact that it's a currency based is a funky chain. It is. It's wild. But yeah, appreciate the new subscribers that I've probably randomly collected. We're starting to slowly go off the bottom now because we were well, I'll say we've gone up by 4. Way, woo, yay. God, it's a fickle world, the world of YouTube. It's mad. You know what's mad about it, right? I didn't like you probably see it on the screen. I didn't subscribe. I didn't do a video for a while over like Christmas period, and like during that time period, just people just went, "You're not posting. I'm going to unsubscribe." It's like, what is wrong with you? So odd. Anyways, I'm gonna shoot. I appreciate everyone coming out. Um, Overall, I'm pretty bullish on the developments in the world of crypto. We just need that throughput of people. And I think once that throughput of people comes, I think it'll be absolutely fine. And I do believe that. I think, a lot of people get worried about, oh, my altcoin's not going to pump. And you might be right. You might be right. Your altcoin might not pump, but ultimately some things will, and it will get people in. But how good are you at, developing your portfolio, changing it, doing all kinds of stuff with it? But hey, anyways, enjoy.